How many edibles did they give him?
Well, I went through it and found 17 razor blades in the apple, and a bunch of pins in the Reese's cups. But I was able to detect it.
Yeah, I found a full Abrams tank in my kid's Laffy Taffy.
We're Generation X, laughing at the world today. We're getting older, but we're still gonna play all day. Radio Labyrinth, our minds are a maze, navigating through the chaos of these modern days. Lost in the radio.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Radio Labyrinth.
Hey, all right. Hey, we're, as of this recording, less than a week away from the big presidential election, where all the garbage people vote for all the other garbage people, and the garbage piles up. What a weekend it was. But we'll get to that later. I hope everyone had a fun and safe Halloween, and that your kids got lots and lots of candy, and that you're eating all of it like I am, because my son doesn't like chocolate, so I get to eat all of the chocolate.
How many edibles did they give him?
Well, I went through it and found 17 razor blades in the apple, and a bunch of pins in the Reese's cups. Yeah, but I was able to detect it.
Yeah, I found a full Abrams tank in my kid's Laffy Taffy.
Amazing how they were able to shrink it down, and then you open the package, and then it comes out and goes all over the place.
Tonight would be a horror for us back in Michigan.
Oh, God.
Usually, the Devil's Night. This would be the night when we'd all be like, "Oh God."
What is the Devil's Night? I heard that earlier today. The Devil's Night. That's the night before Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes, and they would used to set the whole city on fire.
Detroit firefighters are bracing for Devil's Night. That's the annual pre-Halloween arson spree. Last year, 281 blazes were reported. City officials are taking steps to try and stop the fires. Youths under the age of 18 will be under a dusk to dawn curfew tonight, and more than 35,000 volunteers will watch vacant buildings and patrol neighborhoods with fire extinguishers.
They do all the pranks and stuff on the Devil's Night.
Yeah, they used that plot point for The Crow, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big thing to do, if you weren't burning like whole neighborhoods down, was to steal people's car batteries. And I remember my mom on Halloween morning, we got up and she went out to start up the car. Battery was gone.
Holy cow, I never did anything like that. I just soaked windows.
Well, now they call it, or they did change it to Angel's Night. Once they beefed up the mayor that took over in like 91, he kind of like did some stuff and tried to, or no, it wasn't then. They tealed it back, and then in 1994, like they thought it wasn't going to happen anymore, and then we had the worst one we'd had in like 20 years.
No. It's like The Purge without the murder.
Something like that. Now, not so much. Now there might be a random fire here and there. But yes, usually in Detroit, back in the 80s, 70s, you were sweating balls.
Probably anything that you could burn down got burned down in the summer of love, 2020. Which we're probably going to have again and very, very soon, depending on who wins and who loses. I'm not looking forward to it. The weekend, I thought we were going to skid to an election that would end properly like they used to end. And then the weekend just said, yeah, screw you. Tony Hinchcliffe came on stage for some reason at a rally that Trump was having after a really good interview that he did with Joe Rogan. I mean, whether you like him or not, it was still, Rogan kept him on track. I watched this interview. Rogan kept him, he wouldn't let him wander off too far. He was respectful, but Rogan kept, repeating the questions he wanted answers.
You listened to all 3 hours of that?
Yeah, I did. So I have to for work, my job, not the podcast. And I find it very interesting that a presidential candidate like Trump, who could only do an hour with Theo or in some of these other people, he did the show with Rogan for 3 hours. Now, it was supposed to have only been 45 minutes. And I know that for a fact. It was only supposed to have been 45 minutes. But Trump was enjoying himself, so he just stayed. That's all the time they had. But who knows? I was just told that by somebody who's inside.
I did 15 minutes.
With Rogan?
Yeah, that was all I could do.
I listened to the first 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds to see if he did the whole 3 hours, and he did, and that was all I could do. Listen to.
It was the greatest. We were the best. It was no one had ever seen anything that great. It
Well, he
was
says that
all the
about
same
everything.
shit. I just can't. I'm like, I can't fucking listen to 3 hours of this shit. Jesus Christ.
I did listen to the whole this past weekend with JD
With
Vance.
Vance?
Yeah.
Vance is actually pretty interesting outside of politics or just talking. He's very good at conveying his what he's saying. But the Rogan thing opened up with, well, tell me what it was like. I wish I could do Rogan. He's like, what was it like on day one for you? You're inaugurated, you go to the White House, and Trump wouldn't answer the question. He goes, well, I was in the Lincoln bedroom, and the bed obviously was so big because he was, very tall. It was a big bed, and the room, beautiful is beautiful room, the bed, the beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful. Then when you see pictures of it, it was beautiful. And of course, he was depressed. They called it melancholia. They called it that, and they were both depressed, and their son died. And then he got the son's name wrong. He said Tad died in the White House. It was Willie who died in the White House. Tad died in the 1870s. But all in all, you had that one. JD Vance was on, what'd you say, this past weekend?
And Tim Dillon.
And Tim Dillon. I watched that one. We'll talk about that later. And then I think Vance was also on with Rogan, or that's coming out or whatever. And we had spoken last week, will Trump go on? And we knew that Trump was going on. And what about Kamala Harris? And then Rogan came out and said, well, they wanted him to fly and do the interview with Kamala Harris and just do 45 minutes. And he said, no, I'm more comfortable doing it here. But he would love to do it. And he even said to Trump, he said, I would love to have her here. I just want to have a conversation with her. And Trump's like, well, she'll go into a coma. She'll be on the floor. She'll be comatose. That's what he said. She'll be comatose.
Instead, she did Club Shay Shay.
Yeah, but boy, did you watch any of that?
No.
I wish I could do the voice. I'll get in trouble if I do his voice. I can do it, but I don't want to because I'll get in trouble. She went on there and she had 16 different accents and said the same stuff she says all the time. They're both saying the same things they say all the time. And anyway, then Sunday rolls around or whatever, and they have this rally at Madison Square Garden, which the media was calling a former German political party type of rally. And that is just ridiculous because FDR, JFK, Jimmy Carter, and Bill Clinton all did rallies there when they were running, so no one called them a former German political party.
No soup for you, 1 year.
Yes, no soup for 1 year. He was the soup former German political party.
It was off the whole philosophy was Mein Crotch, right?
Mein Crotch.
I don't think that those guys at their political rallies had the same kind of hypesters that Trump had, though.
Well, we didn't know who he was going to have at the rally a week and a half ago when they started calling it a former German political party rally.
You know something, Trump maniacs? I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here.
The whole party, a bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist.
She's a fake, a fraud. She's a pretender. Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ.
But he did have some dingers there. He had, first of all, he had...
Let's call it the Yahtzee party.
The Yahtzee party. All sixes, mark it. Nobody knew that he was going to have Rudy Giuliani there. I wouldn't have had Rudy Giuliani there. The guy's got to give his house to these two ladies.
Yeah, he's got nowhere to live. He might as well go to Madison Square Garden.
No, it's true. I now live in Madison Square Garden in one of the closets, and that's where I live now. Yeah. I wouldn't have had that guy there.
I'm surprised he had time to do it. I mean, with it being October, pulling him away from his Count Chocula duties.
Well, they fired me because of those ladies. They took my job. Those ladies that I insulted and had people attack. Well, I didn't tell people to attack him, but I should have known, but I didn't. So they had him there and, the usual suspects. But for some reason, they didn't vet a very... Tony Hinchcliffe is a roast comic, and anyone could have watched what he did at the Brady roast and said, maybe he's not a good person to have here at this rally today. And he proceeded to do a bunch of racial jokes and told that stupid and very unfunny joke about Puerto Rico.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
which he had tested at a nightclub either the night before or the 2 nights before, and it also bombed. So you would think, okay. And then if you're running a presidential campaign and you have a comedian like him, I want to see all the jokes you're going to tell before you go up there and tell them. And the only joke, now he may have not had that on his joke sheet, okay, but he did have a joke on there where he was going to call Vice President Harris the C word, and they had the wisdom to say, no, you probably shouldn't do that one. Do the one about the Puerto Ricans. So that was what the campaign became. It was bad optics. It was stupid. Everybody disavowed it, but it doesn't matter because if you open up that door, everybody's going to come in, and that's all it was about. But Jon Stewart was one of the comedians to come out and sort of defend Tony Hinchcliffe. Now, he made the same points we're making, is that you shouldn't have him there. You shouldn't have a roast comic there. You know, you could have had... you could have gotten Rob Schneider to just come up and do some jokes if he had asked him to, or Nick DiPaolo, and there's other conservative comedians or guys that are middle of the road that could have just done a set and been funny, but no. I don't have time to look at who they're going to have there. Barron's grounded, by the way. Barron is grounded. He's the one who said, why don't you have Tony Hinchcliffe? He's very funny. I said, okay, whatever Barron wants, because the best thing to do when you're running for president is to allow your 18-year-old son to pick all the people. No. Anyway, Jon Stewart, he said basically that it was a joke and people were overreacting, but that it was a dumb idea for him to be there. And obviously, Jon Stewart is not going to vote for Donald Trump.
Is not?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think. I don't think so. I don't. I feel it in my gut. I know he's an ardent supporter of all right-wing things, and always has been. And this whole liberal talk show host is just an act. And then, okay, so the momentum, this is all kayfabe, by the way. I'm going to tell you that I think all of this is the Vince McMahonification of the entire country. Politics, everything. It's all kayfabe. It's all bullshit. And so last night, this Wednesday, we record this, Kamala Harris had a rally, Vice President Harris had a rally. And in the middle of her rally or whatever, they go to Joe Biden and he slips up and says, Donald Trump's garbage and all of his supporters are garbage. So then that's all it becomes. And then today in Wisconsin, Trump gets out of his airplane that he calls Trump Force One. And what's waiting there to pick him up? A garbage truck with the Trump logo on it and a bunch
to take him to the Are You Garbage podcast?
Yes, I think so. That's what he should be doing. There's your opportunity. Can you get me on the Are You Garbage podcast? That would be funny. Are you garbage? Yes, absolutely. No. So that's just been the week. And this comes out on Saturday. So from today, there's 3 days. 3 days from when you're listening to this, if you listen to it on the day it comes out. And then we'll know, I think, by January who the president is.
Clearly, it's driving a lot of people crazy. Very prominent physician, Dr. Jay Berger, lost his mind yesterday at the Four Seasons Hotel and started shooting at people.
Because of politics?
Oh, I mean, he was waving American flags.
Oh, really? That happened in Atlanta? That's what that was? I didn't pay attention to that story.
Yeah, right down the street from you while you were doing your old show.
I know there were a bunch of helicopters, and I thought, oh, shit, 85 is messed up.
No, he was up there shooting at people.
No, it was the Four Seasons. Yeah.
I think he just got one too many handbills.
Yeah?
And he lost it. I know I've almost went crazy whenever I open my thing and it's just Kamala, Trump. My whole mailbox is full of this shit. But that doctor, he was a very well-respected physician for many years. I know that we referred people to him. I mean, everybody referred to him.
I wonder why he snapped. Because I'm never going to look into it. I don't care. As long as he's the only person that got hurt. Is he the only person that got hurt?
No, he shot a cop.
Did the cop survive? And is he going to be
okay?
Yeah. Good. I'm happy to hear that. Otherwise, I don't care about this guy or why he went nuts. I'm just tired of hearing about people going nuts and doing stupid things. So, yeah, that's it. We'll know in a couple months. Who the president is.
After the Civil War, you mean?
I will not rest until the guy from Bob's Burgers and Mr. Show is let out of jail for a year in jail.
Wait till 2026.
In your news, but Doink the Clown came out and endorsed Chase Oliver. No, I'm just bringing that up because for some reason in this election cycle, all these 80s and 90s WWF superstar wrestlers are fighting with each other over who should be president. And it's making...
I think it's just because of all the McMahon stuff. It's really bringing all them back. Like everybody cares what they have to say all of a sudden.
Trump was on the Undertaker's podcast, and then you got Mankind, or what is his real name?
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley gives an impassioned video, and then everybody's weighing in, and I'm like, well, who else could weigh in? Well, Doink the Clown, the one guy that was famous for, they had a bunch of people do it. The one guy died. But anyway, I did a thing where he went on Rogan and endorsed Chase Oliver. Because it's just funny to me. It's just absolutely ridiculous, which is why I love every day being able to make fun of every single one of these people on the radio show, which you could hear if you're interested. The Von Hessler Doctrine in Atlanta. Everybody watches this probably knows that, but if not, you can stream it. So yeah, that's the political news, I think. I did vote, though. I went out and voted. I left so many things blank that the thing was yelling at me. You've left so many things blank. And then I got the anus sticker. There's two stickers. One has a peach, and then this other one has a peach with a bullhorn, but it looks like a butthole yelling at you, saying, I voted. Okay, I get it. And I thought, this does represent the people that go on and brag about, I voted. Okay.
I thought it was a nutsack.
It does look like it. Well, the asshole is usually behind the nutsack, so yeah.
But I thought it was a joke. That's a real sticker they were giving you?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought that was a fake. I thought you made that in retaliation to Jeff. Yeah. That's a real sticker. Okay. I really thought that was like a nutsack.
That was a real sticker.
Look at me. I'm a stupid nutsack.
Right. Because I am a stupid nutsack.
You were the only person that got that sticker. They're like, let's give this sticker to this guy.
No, they were only.
They
had them all. No, thank you. They had them all laid out on a table, and you could pick from any of them. But 90% of them were the regular one.
That must have just been a Tucker thing, because they didn't have that when I voted.
Tucker's got lots of assholes in it.
No, some kid probably won a contest to have that made.
Oh, really? That was a joke.
Yeah, because Detroit did that, and they had that awesome sticker with the eagle ripping his shirt off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. Ours is the shouting asshole and nutsack. We do have to say goodbye to a couple of people. Last week, original founding member of the Grateful Dead and bass player for the Grateful Dead and on tour with Phil and Friends, Phil Lesh, passed away. I believe he was, 79? Was that his age?
Yeah.
Don't know his exact age, but if I'm wrong, let me know. But the founding member, very important member of the Grateful Dead, and Jeff saw the original lineup more than I did, but I had a couple chances to see them and saw them. And then at one show at Lakewood, it was, I think, a Phil and Friends show, or it could have been the other ones. Phil Lesh would always he wears these red, white, and blue wristbands while he plays, and he would always throw them out into the crowd, and I just so happened to catch it. The guy in front of me dropped it, and I bent down and picked it up, and I kept it. And I've had it ever since. So this was probably 2001 or 2002, and I've had it all this time. And a couple of years after that, Phil had a book and did a book tour. He was at a Borders in Buckhead, and Jeff and I went to that and waited in line. And when I got up to Phil, I said, are you guys going out on tour? He goes, well, I'll be out with my band. I don't know about Bobby. And I said, okay. And then I said, do you like my wristband? And I showed it to him, and he said, that looks like one of mine. I said, that is one of yours. And then he went on to explain to me how he has to have them made customarily because they don't make them anymore. So he had to have them made custom for him, which I thought was cool. So I got a good chance to talk to him. And Jeff, did you talk to him about anything? Do you remember?
No, just a little bit.
No, it was very sad. And then that night, Jeff had sent this to me, and I'd seen it on social media. Fish did Box of Rain, which is Phil's song on American Beauty, and it's a great song. And, he didn't have the best voice, but who cares? It was a good song.
He had that transplant, 30 years ago? So
yes, was it liver?
Yeah, I think so.
He had a liver transplant, and then he would always do the donor jam when you got to see him. And then this week, and we used to do this all the time. Who died? And anybody that died, we would talk about it. But we kind of got away from that. But now all the people that we grew up with and the people that are our age are passing away. And we lost a huge actress from the 70s, 80s, all the way up until she died, really. Maybe the last couple of years she hasn't been on anything. But Terri Garr passed away. And she's in some of the most classic movies from the 70s and 80s, and she was a great guest on David Letterman. I used to remember that if she was on Letterman, it was a must-watch. You know, in the summer, I would stay up and watch it. In the school year, I would record it because I just love Terri Garr. Whether she was the neurotic actress, that's my favorite role of hers, is Sandy Lester in Tootsie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Well, good night, Michael. It was a wonderful party. My date left with someone else. I had a lot of fun. Do you have any Secono?
Come on, I'll take you home.
Tootsie's one of my favorite movies, and I just absolutely love her in it. She's a struggling actress, neurotic. She doesn't get the role of Dorothy, but Dustin Hoffman puts on a wig and makeup, and he gets the role. And then, of course, I love her in Close Encounters, where she's the wife while her husband goes nuts building all these things in the middle of the house and being obsessed with Devil's Tower. And then you go all the way back to she was on soap operas and TV shows, and I think what was her first?
Young Frankenstein.
In other words, his veins, his feet, his hands, his organs would all have to be increased in size.
Exactly.
He would have an enormous Schwanzstücke.
That goes without saying.
That was her first big movie, yeah.
She had great knockers.
Yeah.
What knockers?
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Yeah,
Hello from Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom, yeah.
Mr. Mom, absolutely.
What saw me through was pride. I had pride in this house, I had pride in my kids, and I had pride in being Mrs. Jack Butler. Where are you going?
I'm going downstairs and sleep on the fat couch if I can get through the door.
You'll be sure and take pride in some of that fat, Porky.
Even the small roles she had in Dumb and Dumber.
Come in. I was hoping I'd get a chance to meet you.
You were? Really?
Yes. Tuxedo. It's fabulous. Really, I love a man with a sense of humor. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, her mom. Yeah.
And she was Phoebe's mom on Friends, right? Which was a great casting because Phoebe was sort of like Terri Garr-ish in that role. So anyway, rest in peace, Terri Garr. And let us know in the comments what your favorite roles were of Terri Garr. All right, let's talk about ThePenguin. ThePenguin, what a great episode. Taking back Gotham. What a motivational speech. I would have joined up with Oz at the very end of that show. Thoughts?
I thought it was scary to see Sophia at the end.
Oh, yes.
With that crowbar.
Mm-hmm.
What is she about to do?
Well, that's the thing. What's going to happen now that she knows? And what does she know? Does she know that that's his mom, or does she think that it's the kid's mom?
Why did she think his mom was dead? I mean, I didn't realize that he had told everybody that his mom was dead.
Yeah, he told her in the first episode. He even mentioned out loud to her that she died years ago.
Yeah,
he makes it a point to tell everybody.
Ah,
yeah,
yeah. And his girlfriend doesn't say who she's going to find when she goes to this place, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has no idea who that is, unless
that's why she came with the crowbar. She expected it to be Oz,
and
not find the kid and a woman, dancing.
I'm kind of assuming that part of the reason why he always told people she was dead is because she used to cook the books for all these different gangsters, and so that's why he may have wanted everybody to think she was dead in case they were going to kill her for what she knows.
Right. That makes good sense. What do you think is going to happen next week? There's 2 episodes left.
Just a theory. I think she's going to kidnap the mom, and he's going to blame Vic for not protecting her.
Okay.
And that's going to be, he's either going to go rescue, that'll be the crux of that episode. Then the final episode will be either rescuing the mom or her dying.
Well, he has a pact with his mom, right? So she wants to die.
Oh, yeah. When she got out of the tub and everything, and she just said she wanted him to put her down like an animal, and she has the same disease that Robin Williams had.
Yeah, Lewy body dementia.
Yeah,
I thought this for a little bit, that Vic would somehow get away and get to go be with that girl that he loves, which she's out in California, right?
Yeah. He already flipped that switch. I don't think he's going to get back to her.
And he cemented it in by getting rid of that guy, which he had to do. There was no way that guy was not going to cause a problem.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he's going to be able to do it again, though.
No. I don't think he liked killing people.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking maybe he's going to, I don't know. Like he's going to get another pension. He's not going to do it. I do think Oz is going to kill Victor somehow. I think Sophia's going to kill Oz's mom, and that's going to be his complete unmooring, because that was the only thing that kept him good, as he says.
Yeah, it was his mom. Yeah.
Yes, and then that's going to turn him into full-blown
penguin.
Absolutely.
And he's going to get the top hat and the monocle.
No, he's not.
Start wearing purple.
Well, that's the next week's episode is the top hat. So,
is it?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? The top hat?
Yeah, it's called the top hat.
Damn.
Banana Ritz.
Banana Ritz. I love this show so much because it keeps you guessing. I don't know. Nothing's spoiled for me. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't feel like I can guess what happens. Although I don't think Vic dies, because Dustin told us that he's a character in the comic book.
Right. Also, the theory that's going around now is that we know that the Batman 2 is not going to come out for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the running theory is there's going to be 2 more series about other characters in Gotham, like the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to give them their backstories and build them up so that when the Batman 2 comes out, it's going to be more like the Avengers, where you had all this history and character development that comes together in the movie.
Well, and so, do we know that they're shooting anything?
They've said they're keeping it under wraps, but you do have, like, now that you know who Sophia's character is, and you know that from the Batman that Catwoman is her half sister,
right? Oh,
they share the same father. So that's the theory is there's going to be a Catwoman series, and then either another villain, and then it's all going to come together. So, I mean,
could it be Zoe Kravitz? Is she going to be Catwoman?
Yeah, she would be. She's the one in that universe that is. So yeah, and they make. I mean, I could see them definitely trying to get her, and she's got the closest connection for sure to the Batman. So
I want to see more Oz. I want to see more Oz. I want to see more of the Penguin, but I'll take what I can get. I like this universe. I like the way that they're building it. So keep it up, DC.
This is like the only show I watch live now.
Oh, you watch it live? I have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool that you watch it live. I forgot to watch the Florida Man. I haven't seen the second episode.
Didn't see the second one yet? Oh, man.
No, don't spoil it. I'll watch it when I get home. Didn't watch a lot this weekend. A little football. Skipped the World Series pretty much. Because
they won last night.
Yeah, they won last night. I don't really care about the Yankees anymore. I don't have that fan thing. I still have the emotional fanaticism for the Buffalo Bills. Because I just like football better, but I like to watch a baseball game. I like to see it live. I like to watch a good game on TV. I don't necessarily care who wins. I would be happy if the Yankees win, but they're not going to. By the time you watch this, the Yankees will have lost. The Yankees will have lost. The Yankees will not win. What happened to Steph?
She dropped out.
Connection dropped off.
Steph had to step out because her neighbors across the street, their house blew up or something. And the internet was knocked out. And she did make every effort possible to join as well as she could on her phone, but it didn't sound good. And so in that case, she'll just be back with us next week when her neighbors' houses aren't blowing up and knocking up. She had a couple of news stories in here we already talked about. Jon Stewart, we talked about earlier. He's going to remain the host of The Daily Show through next year. I don't watch it, so does anyone watch it anymore?
I just watch when he hosts on Mondays.
Yeah,
I usually watch the clips of him hosting on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I watch the clips. With Saturday Night Live, I watch the clips. With everything, I watch the clips now. I did see a funny clip last night. Maybe you'll be able to find it. It just showed up in my algorithm. It was a Norm Macdonald clip I hadn't seen. Or if I had seen it, I hadn't remembered it or recalled it. And it was him in full makeup doing Andy Rooney. Do you remember him doing Andy Rooney?
Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, he did it a couple times.
He did. Sometimes he was skinny. He was himself with just a wig. But he's old man face and he looked big, like disheveled like Andy Rooney before he died.
Yeah.
And he starts off like, a lot of people are doing drugs these days. I drink coffee, sometimes 6 or 7. And he has the cadence down perfectly.
Yeah.
That would make me a caffeine addict. Do you know what's next?
No.
He goes, I have about 6. Then he pulls out a bag and he goes, and peyote. And then, and if you're allowed to share it in here, you can. Somebody had it in their shorts. He goes, some people do drugs and without even knowing it. At our Christmas party last year, I put 4 Rufinols in Leslie Stahl's eggnog. And I dragged her to my office, did some peyote, and we had a little party of our own. And I hadn't seen that. I was out in my carport last night fucking crying. Tears were literally, because I love it when I find shit like that. And then you can find the Charles Geralt. It's just the audio.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, for some reason.
Mostly I miss the sex.
The sex. The biggest ball of that part where he goes, maybe I'll be knee deep in the blah, blah, blah river trying to trick a trout with a feather. Or maybe I'll be practicing autoerotic asphyxiation. Little thing I picked up from Eric Severide. Oh, God. I can't believe they let Norm do those things. I can't wait to see that movie. Jeff, you've seen it twice, did you say?
Oh, the Saturday Night Live movie?
Yeah. Did you see it?
I only saw it once.
When's that going to stream? Because I know I won't be able to get out to see it. But my God, there's stuff coming out now that, because they had to do, a lot of consulting.
Yeah, Billy Crystal talked about it a lot on Conan O'Brien this week.
Oh, he did? Does he talk about how he was
there
to be on the first show and they bumped him?
And it's in the movie and everything.
Oh, it is? Great.
Yeah.
Go check that, because I didn't know that. And I didn't know that they wanted Carlin to get a haircut and shave off his beard and wear a suit and everything. Carlin wasn't going to do that then.
You got to see fucking Perry Mason as Carlin too, man. It's so fucking good.
That's who's doing him?
Yeah.
The guy from The Americans?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Does he sound like...
He's got the voice fucking perfect.
That's dude, I got to go see this movie. It's getting nothing but good reviews. I saw that they brought in Dan Aykroyd to consult on it. And did you see the clip of him doing the impressions of the staff, of the crew?
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It was, Reitman was asking him, like, what did this guy say? Okay.
Yeah.
I got to watch it. Maybe I'll go see it.
Go see it at the theater, man.
I don't like going by myself to the movies anymore. I used to really dig it. Now I just feel stupid sitting there. Plus, there's nobody in the theaters anymore. Have you noticed that when you go to the movies, there's hardly anyone there?
Yeah, I saw it in Sandy Springs. There was quite a few people there, but it was like opening weekend.
Did you go to the Tap House?
Yeah.
That place is cool. Speaking of movies, Jeremy Allen White is going to be Bruce Springsteen in Deliver Me From Nowhere, which I guess is the story of the making of the album Nebraska.
Yeah, photos, I mean, he kind of looks like him. They didn't really change him very much at all.
The Dylan Timothy Chalamet movie looks really good.
I know. I was going to tell you that as much as you hate Timothy Chalamet, that movie looks really good. And
I don't really hate
that's him singing, too. So
I know.
It sounds really good.
The big secret, I don't really hate Timothy Chalamet. He's a good actor. And the trailer for that looks amazing. And he sounds good. He sounds great. And I love Dylan, so I'll be going to see that movie. But Jeremy Allen White doing Springsteen, why does Springsteen need a biopic?
Yeah, it's his time in his career. That's just, they're kind of like ticking off all these, biopics from all these people from the 70s and 80s. And it's just
focusing on. Well, the Trump biopic didn't go very well. That was in and out of theaters very, very quickly.
Yeah. Not
Apprentice.
Surprised.
Who played him? Captain America? Not Captain America. Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky played him.
I don't know these actors' names anymore.
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan. Yeah.
I like that guy. I wish I knew his name. Now I do. What else? Lizzo lost a whole bunch of weight and then did a video with the South Park joke about the Lizzo instead of Ozempic. And she was wearing she had a costume made out of the box.
Yeah. Who's going to talk to all those poor big girls that she convinced was not a problem? Now she's, taking the most popular weight loss drug to be just like everybody else.
Well, she's going to be the head of health in the Harris administration. As far as podcasts go, I've been listening to a couple of different audiobooks. So I didn't listen to a ton like I did last week, but the three I did listen to were J.D. Vance on Tim Dillon, which I thought was good. Trump on Rogan, I already talked about, 3-hour slog. And Eddie Huang is this week's guest on Zero Stars. That was pretty funny, him talking about his reviews and stuff. Have anybody checked that out yet?
That's the Bobcat one, right?
Right.
No, not yet.
I dig it. Jeff has a fucking laundry list here.
Before he gets to his, I was just going to say, I'll just listen to TESD, Tell 'em Steve Dave. They had their Halloween special this week, which was their usual Halloween special. They had Svengoolie on. And,
they did? I love Svengoolie.
Yeah, he's hilarious on there,
he's
too.
Funny. And now he's gotten used to him.
Yeah,
so
he's a lot more at ease now.
Yeah, he was always real standoffish for the last few years, but this year it's like he's actually one of the guys.
He's like old friends with him.
Yeah. And, of course, still listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 3.
I found this podcast called the Appleseed Podcast.
Yeah, what is that?
The Storytelling Festival in Mansfield?
Yeah, in Mansfield University, where Jeff and I went to college. Didn't your dad kind of run that, or the communications department?
Yeah.
They ran a storytelling festival every year, and it was great because it was chilly, it was fall, and you were in a tent, and people read these really cool stories, and they were really good storytellers. So go ahead.
Yeah, there's this podcast. This guy, his name is Sam Payne.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was a storyteller also, but I think maybe he was a radio guy.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he lives somewhere near where they have the National Storytelling Festival in Tennessee.
Right.
So he's getting all these storytellers that come to that festival to come in. So there's like 200 episodes. I've been cherry picking the ones with Donald Davis, who was my favorite storyteller from the
So some of these
festival.
people you saw as a kid are still out there telling stories. That's cool.
It's great. And that podcast is a perfect format for stuff like this. Yeah.
And the guy's voice is really good too. The host. I like his voice.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I remember this Donald Davis guy.
Yeah. He's the best of the best.
Yeah, look at him. He looks great for his age too.
Yep.
Wow. And so this podcast is just them telling their stories?
Yeah, they just come in the studio and tell like a story, maybe 20 minutes, half hour. And then he chats with them a little bit.
Does Mansfield University still do the storytelling festival?
No, it stopped after my dad and Vern and everybody retired.
Huh. They should have kept it going.
Yeah, they should have.
Just something that
still be making money off of it.
Yeah, because it was always packed.
Yeah. And people would travel from all over to come to it.
Yeah, that art of being able to tell a story, not just write one, but be able to tell a story, the way that things were passed down over the generations through oral tradition. These were well done stories where they would play the characters and they were able to do the narrative. Like, think of an audiobook, but you're there.
Yeah.
The people are moving and they're gesticulating and living the characters through them and the story through them. That's cool. I want to check that out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a listen. And just you can cherry pick the ones that you have the good storytellers that you like. So I listened to a bunch of those. I did listen to J.D. Vance on this past weekend, and he came off much better than I thought he was gonna. And Theo managed to keep it funny throughout the whole thing.
Did he laugh? Because Trump didn't really get a lot of the jokes.
Yeah, no, he cracked up.
All right.
Yeah. Billy Crystal on Conan, like I was talking about, he talks a lot about being there on the first Saturday Night Live and how his sketch got cut at the last minute.
Yeah.
And I listened to Victoria Jackson on Fly on the Wall. That was kind of hard to listen to. Her voice
slog. Yeah.
Her voice is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Is it still high like it was?
Yeah.
Then?
She does some characters though, and it's pretty funny.
I listened to what's the show they do with just those two?
Superfly?
Yeah, I listened to that this week.
Yeah. And then I found this podcast. David Mandel is on this podcast called 1049 Park Avenue podcast. He's on this episode where they find an episode that was never produced or never filmed.
Oh, really?
And they go through the script. Yeah. So it's really good.
David Mandel?
He's the guy that did Veep. He's a writer. He's in a lot of Kevin Smith movies and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I started listening to The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller. It started in 2020. to Barney Miller podcast, and that was the show was originally going to be called that, The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller.
Good thing they didn't call it that.
Yeah, and they only do one a month, so they've only got about 50 episodes out of the 170.
How come they only do one a month?
I don't know. Both guys have other podcasts, so
is it
maybe
good?
They only come together once a month. Yeah, it's really good. I'm gonna keep listening to it.
Meanwhile, over in Conyers, they're still proudly serving East Metro Atlanta, and they have been for 40 years. Atlanta Pizza and Gyro is the place to be this fall. Did you hear we changed it? It's football, cold weather, unless you live in Atlanta. Their featured beer selection this fall is Monday Night Brewing's Oktoberfest. It is a German-style Marzen lager with noble German hops for a subtle bitterness and a smooth, balanced finish. Perfect for the fall. They've got the best gyros, euros, pizza, hot subs, and Greek and Italian specialties around. Dustin knows he eats there every day. Stop by Monday through Friday from 11 to 9 p.m. and on Saturdays from 12 to 9. They are closed on Sundays. Tuesday nights, they have team trivia from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Bring your smartest friends and test your trivia knowledge against the best Conyers has to offer. So if Dustin's there that night, you might have a good shot at winning. Their food truck is also available. Just contact Mike at 770-483-6228 for more details or to schedule your event. And Mike says, thanks for listening to the best podcast around and for all your business and continued support. Thank you for all your support to the best pizza placer. Do you have a commercial or residential construction printing need? Well, what are you waiting for? Dummy. Contact LDI Repro Printing of Athens. They've been in Athens since 2005, which is almost 20 years. With a fast turnaround and affordable prices, call 706-316-9366 or email them at athens@ldiline.com.
Guys, are you reading the online comments?
Gotta read some of these comments.
I'm loving your guys' comments.
You're reading your own comments?
Yeah, they're really good. I worked hard on them.
The secret is don't read the comment cards.
Guys, let's read your YouTube comments. Brett Perkins, these are from last week's show. And guys, please always remember that you can leave comments underneath here. Brett Perkins says, I am waiting for the Culver's podcast. I would love to do the Culver's podcast. We'll do that.
You guys have to experience, you have to experience Culver's first.
That is true. Tell you what, though, in Tucker, Georgia, they got this place, Nikki's Undefeated. It's the best cheesesteak I've had next to Fred's. Fred's Meats in wherever that is. Stick Figure Jesus said, since you like Dungeon Crawler Carl, check out He Who Fights with Monster by Shirtaloon. Similar theme. It's a little RPG like Carl. I love both of the series.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Who is Stick Figure Jesus? Is that a new listener?
Yeah, must be.
That's awesome. Thank you, Stick Figure Jesus. ATL Clutch wrote, wow, Trump did do the full 3 hours. Believe me.
We were so sure he wasn't gonna, but he did.
Yeah, I can't believe he did it, but he must have enjoyed himself. You think he's ever going to be on Kill Tony? No, I don't think so.
Not now.
Definitely not now.
And Roby Neely wrote, because of Young Frankenstein, Terry Garr was my first celebrity crush, R.I.P. Yeah, how could she not be? Holy cow. Mine was a little more traditional. It was Fonzie. Farrah Fawcett. I kept asking when I was a little kid, like 6, 7 years old, I wanted a Farrah Fawcett poster, but I got the one without the nipples.
Oh, yeah.
My parents didn't want their 6-year-old hanging up nipples. Dustin, you did a couple of polls. Let's see how those went. What is your go-to at McDonald's? And it looks like the Quarter Pounder won out with 36%, the Big Mac at 28%, and the McDouble at 16%. Fries came in third at 20%.
How do you go to McDonald's and not get fries?
Well,
no matter what else you order.
Well, I was going to say, from that standpoint, would be the people that go to McDonald's and just get fries.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is crazy because you might not get the fresh ones. Arnold Palmer drinkers only. Do you think ordering one gets you labeled a Trump fan? Overwhelming victory for no, that's silly. Came in at Right there in second place at 39% was never thought about it. And 6% said yes, totally. So 6% of the people who voted in that are dumb.
Views.
Or.
Snooze.
Who's Jeff?
Yeah, last week was Territory. Before, that's the Billy Crystal Show and Seth Meyers stand-up special, which I watched, and you would like it if you watched it, because he does
special.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff about his kids.
Oh, okay.
I think as a dad, you would think it's funny. Territory, I started watching today. It's pretty good. It's like Yellowstone, but set in Australia.
Yeah, it looks like an Australian Yellowstone.
Maybe the dingoes ate your rancher. Anyway, this week, music by John Williams, documentary on Disney Plus, comes out on November 1st.
Yeah, is it a documentary film or is it a series?
It's a documentary film, I think, about John Williams and all this movies he's done. Yeah,
Spielberg-based stuff.
Spielberg's making it. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. They've been pimping this one for about 6 months.
Yeah,
commercial. So yeah, I'm ready to see this one.
I'm gonna watch it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, this movie called Time Cut. It's hitting Netflix on the 30th. This is a movie that was filmed like 3 years ago. It's finally coming out on Netflix. So I'm sure it's going to be terrible. But
Probably.
It's like a teenage time travel movie. Sounds interesting, the concept. I might watch it.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I like time travel movies and stuff, though, so I might watch it. And then The Joker Part 2 comes out on VOD. If you want to buy it and then walk out of your own house.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that. All right, now we're going to do our staff picks. Mine is a new Colin Quinn stand-up special available on his YouTube channel called Stamps and Tea. It's just in time for the election.
Yeah, that was going to be mine. No,
he stole it.
It looks good, though. He looks like he's working material out because he's still got like a stack of notes. Right.
Nice.
But it's funny. High Potential on Hulu.
I was waiting to hear if this was good.
It is. It's good. It's like a comedic. Well, I mean, Monk. It's very similar to Monk or House or The Good Doctor. Like
I thought it was like Elsbeth for young people.
Yeah, I guess.
Caitlin, I never watched it again either. You shamed the shit. Okay.
This is funny because I can't separate her from Dee.
Right. I can't either.
And you don't have to. That's the funny part. It's like if Dee was a single mom who was like, Goodwill Hunting level, like genius, she can look at a situation and see, like Sherlock Holmes, like everything about it.
I like that. That's what Psych was like.
Yeah, and so she teams up with the local police, and she was a office cleaner. Like at night she would clean places, and she kind of did a Goodwill Hunting thing. She was cleaning the police department. She like wrote stuff on their whiteboard, and they came in the next day, and it was solved. And they were like, "Who the hell did this?" But it's pretty good. It's got 6 episodes available now on Hulu.
I'm gonna check it out. I've been waiting to hear. I thought Steph would tell me if it was good or not, but I haven't heard anything out of her. So,
is it an hour or a half hour?
It's 44 minutes.
Yeah, with commercials.
I could swing that.
I talked about mine already, the Appleseed podcast. I recommend it highly. Check it out.
Yeah, if let's all listen to it a couple times and see if, by the way, and see if the guy wants to come on.
I sent him a friend request. Hopefully I'll hear back from him.
We talked about Noble, that podcast, and a couple of our listeners have told me that they like it.
Yeah.
So we'll get some people out there. Steph's is the Martha, which is a documentary on Martha Stewart, which is streaming now on Netflix.
Yeah, I just saw that on the front page of Netflix when I logged in.
Yeah, if you like Martha Stewart, this is the documentary for you, or if you don't like her. All right, guys, let's do some plugs. I do a radio show on WSB that during the Georgia football season is hit or miss. This week I am on air at 10 p.m. on Saturday, the 1st of November. And I have 2 guests. One of them is actor Luke David Bloom. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's been in a ton of stuff. At his age, he's only 15 years old. In fact, when I interviewed him, his dad was in the room.
Yeah. He's
been in some heavy stuff, and he was in his first big movie. I think was he was in The Watchmen.
Yeah, he was in the Watchmen series,
and he was in The King of Staten Island.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has a new movie coming out called Lost on a Mountain in Maine. Yeah, so he's on the show. And then YouTube sensation turned actress and or actor, so very, very successful, Lily Singh is on to talk about her new movie that she's in with Jason Sudeikis and a whole bunch of other people called Hit Pig, about a pig that's a hitman that goes to try to kill an elephant. She plays the elephant.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, let's do some shout-outs. If you'd like to become well, first of all, let's start with the YouTube page. If you're new here and you made it this far through all my stammering and stuttering, like and subscribe. And don't forget, leave a comment. We'll read them because we have fun reading those. And the more fun you are, the more fun we have. Also, take one of the polls that Dustin puts up every week. Those are fun. And leave comments under those. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, please go to patreon.com/Tim Andrews and sign up, because we do, this week we're not, but we do Radios in the Dark, which is our after show we record, and it's Patreon only, and we're a little bit looser, and we have just talk about whatever we feel like talking about. And of course, you are welcome to suggest topics for that, and then you will be the person that we talk about in that show initially. But we have multiple levels. You can come in at $1 or however much you want and have access to that show. Or you can become a Radio Labyrinth producer. That's $25 a month. You get your name read every week as a producer because you get a credit. You are a producer. That's what producers do. They give the money to fund things. And you give us, a little gas money here, gas money there, a little lube money for Jeff. You get that credit, and you get a T-shirt from our T-shirt shop. And I'll do a drawing for you and mail it to you. All right? How does that sound? That sounds good. So let's thank our producers right now. John Allen, Matt Carter, Chris Chandler, Mike D., Jim Fortner, Terry Fuller, Roby Neely, Jeff Peterson, Tim Slayton, and Brian and DJ Chelsea Smith. She deserves the title. She earned it. All right, so that's all you got to do. Again, go to patreon.com/Tim Andrews. Remember, switch over if you're using the Apple app. Switch over to another way of doing it so you don't get scammed by Apple's Apple Store, because they're a bunch of jerks. But yeah, like I said, we're not going to be doing the Radios in the Dark this week because
we spent a bunch of extra time when Steph lost her internet connection, so we were kind of running out of time to record tonight.
Yeah, but and also I don't want to do it without her. She usually gets a little surly and fun in that.
Right.
Not in a negative way, a very funny way. But we'll be back doing that next week. And in case I've left anything on the table, go ahead, guys.
Keep it canon.
Keep it canon.
Keep it canon.
Well, they say all good things come to an end.
What's that got to do with this show?
Lost in the radio labyrinth.